Hey guys, it's Nathan McBride here. I'm an adventure filmmaker and avid drone pilot for the last 5 years. And we're here to give you a sneak peek of how we made the official launch video for the Mavic 3. When I first got to lay my eyes on the Mavic 3, I was pretty impressed with the modern design, the slim arms, with the battery just slides into the back. It seemed like a refreshed version of the Mavic Pro 2. And it's the first Mavic to have ProRes, which is revolutionary and is so important when it comes to getting the highest quality out of your footage. Sometimes on location, we were shooting in non-ideal lighting conditions, and the Mavic 3 honestly surprised me. The difference between the highlights and the shadows was really balanced. So when I thought of a concept for this video, it dawned on me. DJI has always been a company focused on improving its own product every launch. And that's exactly what they did with the Mavic 3. I saw similarities within creatives as we were constantly evolving and building our own skills to better our own creative work. I took these elements and built out two juxtaposing storylines that would cut back and forth, storytelling the journey of two versions of myself in contrasting landscapes. The two mirroring journeys contrast in a way that represents an internal battle to go further each and every adventure. When contemplating on locations that we would choose for this project, we didn't just have to find stunning landscapes, but ones that were off the beaten path, which meant we were venturing off into the unknown and hoping for the best. As I began to narrow down the countries that could potentially represent the tropical side of this video, I was really intrigued with the country of Brazil. I just hadn't seen much content from it. Bolivia, being Brazil's close neighbor, it was an easy decision to spend a quick week and road trip all of the unique landscapes that you can't find anywhere else in the world. Namibia was one of those countries that I had seen some images from, but I knew there was so much more to explore. Surprisingly, I saw aspects of it that reminded me of the southwest of the United States, which has consistently offered me locations that look truly out of this world. As we all know, the DJI Mavic 3 has been highly anticipated amongst the filmmaking community in the last couple years. The new Micro Four Thirds CMOS sensor allowed me to capture beautiful 5K footage with amazing dynamic range. An extremely well-performing low light, even at 1600 ISO. We're pushing our settings to 1600 ISO and the sensor's holding up pretty nicely with very minimal grain. See how the shot turns out. Mavic 3's extended flight time up to 40 minutes came in super handy when I had to wait for the conditions to align. High frame rates at 4K at 120 FPS and a 7x zoom camera, this unlocks so many different shot possibilities that would have not been possible in the past. Now, some would say that camera resolution is the most important feature on a drone, but the second part to that question is how are we storing and transferring that footage? My favorite feature was the internal 1 terabyte of SSD storage that's on the Mavic 3. Having this really saved the day, allowing us to make quick transfers and running backups while we were on the road. So one of my favorite shots from the whole entire campaign was probably when we met up with our local Brazilian highliner in this infamous canyon that was known for these inversion clouds that would roll in all the time. We showed up there and we had 4 days in the region. For 3.5 days, everything was clear skies. And the day that we were gonna set up the highline, we had everything set up, ready to roll, and there was not a cloud in the sky. I was pretty disappointed because we were looking for that iconic shot, and in the distance, I did see one little cloud out on the horizon. We decided to have him walk the line one more time. The clouds from a distance started rolling in, and when we were shooting, I did this like perfect spiral rotation as these clouds just enveloped all over him. Sometimes the circumstances look like they're not aligning, but it's our job to put ourselves in the right place at the right time and wait for the magic to happen. So with every big project comes a lot of challenges, obviously. We had a very intense itinerary with 4 countries in 6 weeks, which made it hard because there was very little room for error. Starting off the trip in Bolivia, it didn't go smooth right off the start. From barely being led onto my flight to Bolivia to actually losing my bags. I can't lose those checked bags. Where we had to rearrange the whole week of travels in Bolivia. But sometimes in the hardest points, I realized how overwhelmed I was because I knew that I had 6 weeks left of such an intense travel itinerary. And in Brazil, the story was no different. We started out in Rio, literally getting rained out every day, where we would maybe have 20 minutes of good weather. So we actually utilized some of those moments to shoot some of my favorite community scenes that are seen in the video. We had booked 4 internal flights throughout, traveling all the way from the northern part of Brazil to the southern part. Even during our 35-hour flight to Namibia, I actually ended up getting a text that said there was an intense windstorm that had blown through the south of Namibia the last couple of days, and it was creating conditions that were not shootable whatsoever. And our 1 month of planning with my local contact in Namibia completely fell apart, and we had to rearrange our road trip throughout Namibia, starting from the north, going down south, spending 10 days in a rooftop tent to different ecosystems around Namibia. There are hundreds of mini stories of mini failures and places that we had to overcome and things that we had to do to get those shots that were not a guarantee, but we put in the work and made it happen. And that one was a true testament to the team just pulling together in a really hard time and making the shot happen. To summarize all this, the Mavic 3 is a perfect tool to do just that. It allows you to capture unparalleled quality like no other drone in the market, while pushing you to expand your creative eye.